Hello and welcome. I'm Jerome Chang, and this is the Hello and Welcome program, and it is tempo time, where my reaction today is going to be normal and acceptable, much like Aneesah Morrow, in reaction to the tempo being currently on a 10-game losing streak. But we still have things to talk about. There are things that are going on. We can talk about how why they're not winning these games, but also what is kind of coming around as they try to round back to health and form and all that for the rest of this season. But on the other side of this is someone who, if she chooses to register, could be on the other side of a wall on Love is Blind Canada. It's TSN's Chelsea Late. Chelsea, how are
Hello.
you?
I'm doing peachy.
Yeah.
I got a facial yesterday. I'm chilling.
Okay.
Life's
Okay.
good.
We all did a little something with ourselves.
Yeah, we did a
Recently,
little something. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're healing from the inside out. Is the
We are healing from the inside out. And, well, let's just jump right into it because, yes, we may need a little bit of healing because the Toronto Temple right now are on a 10-game losing streak.
yeah.
They
I do
lost.
think I do think us going on Love Is Blind will fix this.
It may, at the very least for like the plot of it all,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
I've seen almost every season at this point, and I've
Yeah.
seen even alternate versions. And I think I saw, um, yeah, I've seen like
There was
others.
Brazil. There was
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and now
I
we're
know
doing
there.
Canada.
Now we're doing Canada. We're gonna see how that all goes. I keep on forgetting, and this is definitely like a Toronto exceptionalism thing that I was like, oh, it won't just be people from Toronto.
Thank God.
Thank God, I guess. Yeah, 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 for sure. And then also, you and I are both really like I got a new mic right now. We are
Yeah.
setting you up with some mic software. So, chat, if we are, did Jerome start a run club too? No, he just doesn't like sleeves anymore.
Yeah.
In this hot weather. Yeah, as he
I,
wears his not
yeah.
so ominous Juju Watkins tee, but we'll get to that later on too. Yeah, I think, it looks like where the Toronto Temper are trending, we might see an off season soon, in which case, to fill the time, maybe for the plot, we register for this lovely little
Look,
reality show. Who knows? Who
I did
knows?
the other day. So here's the thing about life these days. I'm
Mm,
trying to be more professional online, right? So, the folks may have realized that my
as we
Twitter
all should
has
be. Yeah.
yeah, that my Twitter has kind of shifted in the past few months to be a little bit more profesh,
She's
which
a public figure on TV.
and honestly it's like taught me really good boundaries, so I'm very happy about that. But I when Love is Blind Kate like the thing, I was like, "Oh god, I want to tweet about it so bad." But instead, I texted my boss at TSN and I said, should I
Yeah.
apply for Love is Blind? And he said, sweet Jesus, God, no. And I was like, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you to bring your mic down just 25 on that little app that we have, but I think we're rolling along, and we're gonna roll into yes, talking about the Toronto Tempo, who, like I mentioned, are on a 10-game losing streak. As the time of this recording, they just lost in a really tight battle with the Dallas Wings. Dallas was without Jess Shepard and Az Fudd,
It was a
but
good game.
it was a good game. I think. Look, let's just get into the negatives right away. Yes, the Toronto Tempo have been struggling of late. The defense, as I pulled from our good friend Zulfi at Raptors Republic, watch his work with Tempo Talk. Ninth straight game allowing 90 plus points, and for context, the league average for scoring is 87.6 points per game. So, I mean, if you're watching the games, you're seeing a lot of this happening already, and you can see why, like, the opponent is running up the score. I'd say last night's game in particular, it was a lot of leak outs. It was a lack of transition defense. It was the Wings getting ahead, specifically Elena Smith, who I think was just racking up points on like open layups, just running ahead of the defense. But yeah, you can see where the holes are. And Chelsea, I know you had written about it in particular in reference to Slim, Brittany Sykes, but from what you've seen, like what is going on out there, but also what do you think could possibly fix it? And maybe it is just personnel coming back.
Yeah, I mean, the hard part about last night in particular was that you're missing two of your best perimeter defenders in Marie Kondo and Julie Allemande. And so that doesn't help. You then have the somewhat benefit of AZ Fudd being out. Of course, we never really want anybody to be out
No,
with
no, of
injury,
course.
but, then that kind of,
They were
I
kind of
guess,
playing like last year's wings plus Alana Smith. Which I
yeah,
was
yeah,
like,
yeah.
last year's wings was a 10-win team. There was
Yeah.
something, there was a possibility there for sure.
Exactly. So there's that. And then, yeah, I mean, you're missing Alman, you're missing Conde. Marina is being asked to play more point. Kiki is playing more point, which Kiki did incredibly.
I think she did a great job. I actually really liked her on-ball defense on Paige Beckers.
Yeah, and I mean,
Yeah.
holds Page scoreless in the first half, which I tweeted that, and people got mad at me for some reason. I was like, and this is why I'm not on Twitter very much anymore. And
It's tough to say. Like I think like fairly, nobody can like single-handedly stop that level
Yeah.
of a superstar. But I think the on-ball defense, it always starts with the on-ball defender, and what
Yeah.
Kiki was able to do to drive her to the right spots, to like lead her into those areas where Paige would get hounded. Like she did an admirable job.
Oh,
for sure.
100%. And for a rookie, I mean, that's the thing about like us judge or like analyzing what Kiki's doing. It's all about like what she's showing now that's going to be helpful in however long, you know, it takes for this team to be contending. And so there's always good signs from her. And so, yeah, that was good. And I mean, yeah, it's just if Slim were out there, that was my whole point the other day is like so many of these teams' problems would be solved by Slim being out there. And it makes you think, okay, like the logistical build of this roster wasn't as bad as it's looking now because then you end up having all these injuries and not being able to see the full team together. So, I mean, of course you have to plan for this stuff to happen, unfortunately, because injuries do happen. But at the same time, it's like if Slim were in these situations, they would be so, and especially in a game that's being decided by less than 10 points. Like if Slim is
Yeah.
out there contributing 20 points a game and defending the way she does, this is a completely different team. And you think about the fact that so many of these games that the Tempo have been in have been these closer games. Maybe not in the past few weeks, but like, well,
Sure.
at the beginning of this
I would say the
streak-
last two games were pretty solid efforts.
Yeah.
It felt like the team was showing more and more flashes of the Tempo team that we saw that really hovered around 500, was in the playoff race, was having two all-star level talents and a up-and-coming rookie. But I think like what we're noticing is while we see those flashes, obviously against, this run of teams that are all not just playoff teams, but potential contending teams for this season, mostly everything has to go right. And I think in any given game, you can pick out for sure like different spurts of like either defensive collapses, or in this case with the Wings, the defense was pretty solid, but then the Tempo also missed their first 10 3-pointers until Kia Nurse hit one in the second quarter.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, I mean, you talk about Slim getting back would be huge. Obviously, I think it plugs up a lot of holes. But yeah, it's just really tough because, you look at the fourth quarter, and I think if you were able to isolate, like if the Tempo were able to be like a 10-minute team, that fourth quarter, when I watch it, it felt like watching the Tempo, the
Yeah.
identity that we got to know about them. And I think a lot of it comes from just the rolling effect of Marina hitting a three-pointer. It's the rolling effect of getting a defensive stop and transitioning on the other side. I think, Laura Yushkaida in that quarter had like two moments where either she was on the receiving end of a leak-out pass from a turnover, or causes the turnover herself, receives the pass back, and finishes it on the other end.
Yeah.
But once the Tempo get those easier baskets, I think what happens is, I think you can just see the rollover effect that like the energy picks up and the team like starts to look like themselves. They start to like refine their identity. But,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to belabor on like the causes of it because we have done it now for weeks, and when
Yeah.
you're on this long of a losing streak, you're kind of repeating yourself. So, yes, health is one thing. Getting a healthy team back would be great. We'll talk about what the health of this team is because there are unfortunately some updates, good and bad, and we'll also. But then it's also it's personnel. It is those kind of lapses in defense. It's finding those things back. But it looks like there are pieces that we can point to that, whether it is for the rest of the season or looking ahead for seasons ahead, there are like some hopeful moments. So we're going to start off. We mentioned their name enough times, but Kiki Rice has been hooping. I think Kiki Rice has like really found her offensive rhythm. I think she, for the last two games in particular, she really looked like herself in the form of the way she's attacking, her footwork, the way she's able to, simply look like the rookie that was averaging over 10 points per game and really for a team that is again lacking a slim, lacking these kind of downhill players, uh, putting pressure inside and opening it up for the rest of the court. But what have you noticed from Kiki for this last little stretch?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to come back from nearly 2 months away from with injury. So I think that's the first thing is like letting her build up and ramp up, which it's hard because you have not that much season left. At the same time, it's more about her long-term longevity and like finishing out her rookie season and all of that than anything. So there's that. I just think like I've been really impressed with the way that she's like with the speed in which she's bounced back, like the way that she was, her first game maybe not so much, and then she just kind of gets right back into playing the way that she was before. And again, we're in this situation now
She's
where
fearless. It's kind of
she
crazy.
is fearless.
Yeah.
And Brondello says that all the time. She just wants to drive and get in there, and she is fearless. And especially now, like, I don't know how long Alaman will be out. I also don't know, like, some of these international federations will be pulling their players at a certain point
Sure.
to start preparing for the World Cup. So we may end up with a few more people missing.
As an international team with key players, because like also like in those cases, what happens to Coach Brondello?
Coach will leave like right at the end. Like Coach isn't going to
Okay.
miss any games. Yeah,
Right,
she's
right,
good
right.
because they do fit in a few days of that break for travel. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but it is these teams like France, like Belgium, who like are truly very serious about.
I mean,
their
most
things.
teams are losing out on French players because it seems like everyone
Exactly.
on the French national team plays in the WNBA now. Yeah.
Except Carla Leite did not make that roster, which I was shook about.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you just have to spend time with your cousin in this
I
little
know.
period. Yeah. Yeah.
Carla, come play for Team Portugal or Canada. But anyways, so yeah, so that might be a factor, but I don't. Brondello will leave because she has staff who is gonna.
Sure. Of course. Yeah.
They got staff. So yeah, so there's that you have to think about. Obviously when thinking about both Conde and Alaman, like with these injuries, they're gonna be probably in conversation with their federations being like, okay, like managing, right? So there's a few things especially as we get closer to the World Cup, that a few more voices end up in the mix. But anyway, all this to say is that Kiki will probably, I would assume, if Alaman stays out, be starting for for a little bit of time here, which honestly, in my opinion, as I love watching Julie, obviously. I want her to
Without
be
question.
healthy and be playing. But like Kiki starting is fantastic for her.
I think it's necessary.
It's
not only
necessary to
fantastic-
see
Yeah. This
how
is
she plays with Marina, how she plays with Slim when she comes back, how she plays with Aneesah Morrow, who is now, in the mix. And so I love that we're starting to maybe experiment with what the future could look like.
No, absolutely. I think with Kiki in particular, and no, obviously we want the team to be fully healthy, but the circumstances of that team not being healthy and then Kiki coming into the starting lineup is, I mean, glass half full. You really want to see Kiki thrown in there. And we'll get to them as well. You want to see Aneesah Morrow in the mix too, because these are two young players who are signed with the team for more years than most of the players on the team. So these are building blocks. These are players that we want to see develop over time. And in this period where it looks like the playoffs are out of reach, I think it would be a really good opportunity, even if it seems like a little inconsequential, for them to get these reps, because you see it already with Kiki, and we're starting to see it with Aneesah, who I think, yeah, after a couple of games, we're seeing Aneesah is. I think we're starting to see kind of like a little bit of the full picture of what Aneesah brings to the table and what Aneesah might need to develop or work on. Because after, I think we got to see one game with her before last recording, and then here we have a couple under the belt. There are moments where I'm like, okay, her first basket for the tempo was a three-pointer, and we're like, that is what Aneesah can bring to the table. But it is also a shot that she is developing, so you'll see games where she's attempting them, and she should be attempting them, but I would say they're pretty far off, like some pretty far off misses. And it's not to say that she shouldn't be shooting them or that she's bad at them, but it is something that is a work in progress. So it's good. But then you see, like you mentioned, there's like some rhythm and chemistry developed with Kiki. I think there were a couple of nice moments over the last couple of games where you'll see Kiki penetrate inside, find Aneesah for a quick midi, and I guess like just the youth and energy that they bring, like that speed, all of that, like really puts pressure on defenses that we haven't seen in the last little while. And so, yeah, you just see all that she brings. And then, we already know it's the rebounding. That becomes the big case. And then going back to last night's game against the Wings, when your team is kind of going through a real lull, you kind of need something to shake it up. And I think Aneesah Morrow does such a great job of doing that sort of thing. Yeah. So, looking at the plays that she has in that, there is like an offensive rebound. There's also a fight for position inside that causes a loose ball foul on it. So she gets it back, which gives her first tech, I believe, in that moment, in her reaction to it. And then there's that getting the rebound, finishing, getting the and one, getting ejected, but then getting brought back because, as the referee indicated, the reaction was normal and acceptable because
shout out to that ref, honestly. This is, I think, the first time all season that I'm like, shout out to that ref for that call. Shout out to the ref. Shout out, right call. We did it, guys. We got a right call.
Obviously, the tempo lost the game in the end, but it would have been a real gut punch with the momentum that they had.
Terrible.
And a play like that to eject Aneesah Morrow.
Because it wasn't that bad. Like,
she yelled N1. She yelled N1. That's
like,
all.
Let
she
them show
a
bit of emotion.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry that these rules were made for men who show zero emotion, except Scotty. I feel like Scotty shows that same level of emotion, which I like. Like, you want your...
I mean, speaking of emotion, shout out Russell Westbrook. Congratulations on your retirement.
Yeah. But yeah, and do you know what's crazy? And we texted about this before. The trade feels like 8 years ago now. Aneesah just came to Toronto for the first time last night.
She's just arriving in Toronto, which is
I saw her Instagram story where it was like, "Hey, Toronto," and I was like, "Oh my god, yeah, she hasn't been to the practice facility yet. She hasn't like tomorrow will be the first time we see Aneesah in practice, which is bonkers to me."
That is bonkers. Yeah, but like all of it to say, yes, you can just see so much that she brings to the table. I mean, I want to hear from you too, Chels. Like, we talked about it a little bit in last episode, but it actually bears repeating because it is a new player. Like, what are you seeing from Aneesah? What are the pieces that are working, and kind of like what can we build upon? Yeah,
I think obviously the rebounding is what we've all talked about, and it's something that she has immediately shown. I think again, and again, like you said, bears repeating. She is gritty, and I think that matches really well with Kiki, because Kiki's kind of the same. Like, Kiki, again, it's that fearlessness to go in there despite.
They're so tough.
And that, despite Aneesah being slightly undersized for her position, imagine oversized for your undersized for your position. She just gets in there and she doesn't care. So that is awesome. And then again, like we're saying this about the shot, when Aneesah throws up a shot from like farther out, I'm not sitting there like I'm mad she's throwing these up because they're not going in. I'm sitting there like, yes, keep trying to develop that. And I'm
none
sure
of them
that's
are ever forced. Like, they're
No.
always wide open shots, and she has to keep the
Exactly.
defense honest.
Yeah, and I mean, you see that progression in someone like Angel Reese, who has now built out her shot a little bit more. That's the progression that you want to see from Aneesah to start building. And that's something that will happen during the off season. Like, you'll see a lot of, because, you know, then they're going to go in there with and actually tinker her form. And but this is just so that they can get actual footage and film of what her shot looks like and what needs to be corrected in the off season in game. And so it's like there's so much of the long game being played here of like, okay, Aneesah, go out and take these shots so that you know, you can, so that we can see what needs to be fixed. Okay, go and do this so we can like work. It's all of this stuff that you're building so that in the off season they can make her a plan to be like, hey, this is what we want to work on. This is what we're going to do. And so to me, it's just like these few weeks, month, whatever we get of Aneesah now is literally just like data collection of, okay, how do we make her into the player that we want? And so I'm not mad at any of these
Not at all.
shots that she's taking or any, you know, thing that she's doing out there. And I think for me, and maybe some people out there, and, you know, I saw a comment of like, you know, time for me, this now season is about what do we take and move on from, and also still enjoying the fact that it's our first season. But at the same time, like, and we'll talk about this more, but like, to me, and I feel like I'm back in Raptors land of years past where it's like wins and lessons, baby, or lessons and lessons, it feels like at this point. But like it's just part of it. And you have to kind of see
They're an
glass half full
expansion team.
sometimes.
They're an
Yeah.
expansion team, and I know we've said this before. You can't grade an expansion team based on the Valkyries being the floor, because the Valkyries aren't the
No.
floor. They are the anomaly. They, like, all the credit in the world for them achieving what they achieve, for having the team that they have right now, being a contending team already. But
Yeah.
that is not something to expect out of an
Yeah.
expansion team. And if you go through the history of not just the WNBA's expansion teams, but expansion teams in general, like, this is just like how that works. And
Yeah.
this is also a case too where who knows what would have happened if they ever had consecutive games with a clean sheet of injuries. You know,
Exactly.
who knows what any of this would be. And
Yeah.
You
I
know-
will say, so I guess this is a little touch of exclusivity here. Shout out
Sure.
to everybody who's watching live. The other day I was at Unmatched, the conference at NBO, like it's a great women's sports conference. Got to talk to Teresa Resch a bit.
yes,
And so she actually told me that when they were in Golden State, the team actually got to have like a good chat with the Valkyries kind of like people and just kind of talk about like what they did in between year 1 and 2 to kind of, because yeah, I feel like all of the obviously all of the focus has been on year one, you know, inaugural season. But then obviously the franchise continues and you have to prepare
Sure.
for year 2. And so, yeah, she was like, yeah, we got to talk to the Golden State people and just kind of like chat about what happens after year 1 and how you kind of bring that momentum into year 2. And I thought that was like, I was like, oh, that's such a cool thing to talk about. And yeah, like a great resource to have, obviously, in moving on, because obviously right now we're saying like, yeah, this is house money, it's our first season, whatever, but then you get to a point where it's not that. You have to start moving forward and building to the future. So I thought that was a cool thing. Chatted with her about a few things, but that one was something that definitely stood out to me.
no, that is the funny thing, because there is so much excitement, and I think we as fans and media and even as a team have experienced it in different parts of the season, but it's kind of just like this big excitement of everything being a first and, you know, new and everything, that there's almost like a hangover when we're like, oh, right, but there's like a whole season of basketball and a team that plans to be here for years to come.
Yeah.
I'm just going to address this really quickly just because it's a fair pushback. They're an expansion team that's aimed for the playoffs, a specific strategy by the front office. So would you say that was a failure? We'll talk about it when it gets to the eventual offseason, but the short answer right now is absolutely not. There's just no version of this that I would look at it as a failure, and I very much doubt that the organization would ever look at it as the same. There is anything that you could really account to the shortcomings does come with a lot of like real bad luck with injuries. Like you can say that's like copping out to it, but it is, you wrote about it and we mentioned it last episode. Like Coach Brandella said in her 27 years of coaching, or as in professional basketball, she's never experienced anything like this.
Yeah.
And I think for what you put on the floor, or what, like when you're able to, it seemed like a team that was on the fringe of the playoffs. And again, you can't ignore you have a potential star rookie. I think probably a likely star rookie. You have an actual all-star, not just an all-star level player. You've had all these different moments. I don't know under what measure beyond something that would be honestly a nice to have is saying that this is a failure of a season.
No.
But we'll get to there when we get to there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And just one final note about that. I feel like to me, I would have been more disappointed. And I mean, maybe not disappointed is the right word, but like, it is so reasonable to be like, yeah, let's push for the best that we can be. And then
Sure.
accepting where you are. Like,
Yeah.
there's no world in which the Tempo went into this season being like, we're tanking. Like,
No, that's the thing.
nobody does that, Like,
Yeah, only maybe slightly Delulu fans turned media members preseason were like, well, looking ahead to the drafts later on. But no, obviously they put their best foot forward.
oh yeah, and you can't be mad at that, So
No.
it's like, no, it's not a failure. Like, and again, maybe this is me just being too like happy with life. I don't know, but I'm like, dog, we have a team. Nothing's a failure.
Just look at our opponent last night in the Dallas Wings, which weren't an expansion team last year. Like anyone who's really excited and getting onto like the Paige Beckers, AZ Fudd, Dallas Wings bandwagon of sorts, they were a 10-win team last season.
Things change so fast in this league.
Things can change
so
really quickly.
Fast.
And so
Think about Minnesota, like the way that
Sure.
people were like thinking Minnesota was going to be like a mid team this year, and then they get Olivia Miles, and so like so much changes in this league so fast, and it really just depends on luck sometimes. Or luck and it's a mix of luck and strategy. Let's be so for real. Like you have to be a front office who knows when to move. And so far from what I'm seeing from the Tempo, I think that they are.
Aneesah Morrow move was an indication of them being able to be, like you mentioned the Raptors, and we said this again also. Imagine if the Raptors front office just made a move right away to like move things forward as opposed to like see things through across a couple of seasons. That's kind of what we saw with the Aneesah Morrow move.
Yeah. And so, it indicates that they're, navigating that luck versus striking kind of vibe.
Right.
So, not a failure.
Yeah. And then we kind of came into talking about Aneesah with this point that you mentioned, but I think looking ahead to the rest of this season, I just really want to see as much Kiki and Aneesah as possible. I think as much as when you look at the rotations as they were built across the season, whether it's due to injuries or any of those reasons, yes, it looks like Julie Alamon would be the starting point guard. But I think realistically, again, because of Kiki being the draft pick that is with us for years to come, the move is eventually
core player, potential yada yada.
Exactly. Like you want to see Kiki actually thrown into, I think, the starting role. Can be alongside Julie, but like really thrown into these situations where it goes through her. And I think again, you're seeing already. I beyond the actual play itself, I remember certain moments where, for example, like Marina's like really upset about a play. Could be that she was fouled. I forget exactly what happens. And typically, like between every play, like teams will huddle together to kind of regroup and talk. And to see Kiki leading that, pulling Marina in, where it's almost like you would think that like the all-star vet is pulling the rookie in. It's Kiki who's centering her team. So she's already like showing all these parts about her that go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say that they, every time that you ask about it or you see it, like they've always said that Kiki is so much more like emotionally, and I think like, I'm trying to think of the exact like thing that but like she's just so like chill and calm. And I think they were
The
saying
poise is really there,
the poise, yeah, on Sue Bird's
Yeah.
podcast, where they were like, nothing phases her. Like, she's having a
Yeah.
good game, she's happy, but she's having a bad game, she's like, okay, let's do it. And I think that, of course, like, there's the other side of the coin where you love the passion and the grit that someone like Marina shows, but you also need the balance of having someone like Kiki.
But Kiki also has those moments, you know, on
Yeah.
once when she finishes hard, like she definitely like lets it out, but you can see her very centered most, if not all the time, you know.
Yeah, I want her meditation practices because, girl, I need it.
Oh yeah, no, there was a moment where I think after her injury, which we'll get to and talk about, I think she was trying to get back into the game, but like they sat her
Yeah.
as they should to rest her, and you can almost see, like, obviously you don't want to read too much into someone's body language that you're watching through a screen, but like they cut to her like sitting there, and it's almost like you can see a person centering themselves and like really.
Yeah.
Like gathering together, which is asking a lot for someone so young, but she
Yeah.
does it so well.
Yeah.
The last person I want to mention, just because it is nice to see her kind of getting into the Marina Mabrey is kind of money again. You know, I think you look at the last two games. In the previous, she goes for what, like 7 3-pointers,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
very classic Marina game, and then last night against the Wings, she. You know, she has one of those, sees the ball drop one time, and then maybe almost like carries the Toronto Tempo into
Yeah.
a comeback win in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And so,
her and Kia were just making him buckets.
yeah, no, I don't have it on the rundown, but like there should be a specific shout out to Kia Nurse for really steadying the ship in that first
yeah.
half.
All of her 3-pointers were made at moments where they just needed a bucket, and
Yeah.
really just
And
kind
late,
of like
and that late game bucket where she hits it and like causes the timeout because like they were knocking at the door in the comeback in
Yeah.
the fourth.
yeah.
Yeah.
So shout out, Kia.
But yeah, talk to me, Chels, about what has kind of come around with Marina, because it feels like that rhythm is kind of there. She doesn't have the neck tape. Did that small break in between up until the Atlanta game help? Like, what are you seeing?
The small break helped me. Let's be so for real. Oh man, I took
went to
those
the
days
cottage.
off.
Yeah,
I went to
yeah,
the
yeah.
cottage,
Yeah.
and I mean, maybe the same for her. It's not the same because you're on the road, of course, and you can't fully relax in the way that you would at home. But
Sure.
I think with Marina, things come in ebbs and flows, and I definitely feel for her because the idea that she would be the sole number one option was not the plan going into you're supposed to kind of have
No.
that give and take with her and Slim, right?
They
And
talked
you've-
about that on Sue Bird's podcast as well, that
Yeah.
they would trade off, and that's why it was working early on.
Exactly. You know, you had a game where Marina was big, then you had a game, then you had like games where they were both contributing, and like that in its essence is like what makes this team so powerful and what was making people think, oh, this could be a playoff team. Then Slim gets hurt, not just hurt, but like a longer term injury, and then Marina has to like essentially score 30 points a game for this team to be in any game. And
One
so
of the last two wins is the 53-point game.
exactly. So
Yeah.
it's like, and even when she does score 34 points against, it was what, Atlanta? I don't know days anymore.
It was, yeah, I was struggling to remember who they played, and then it was like, yeah, it was the Atlanta game.
It was the
which-
Atlanta game. She
yeah.
scores 34 points, and even that's like not enough. So it's just like she's doing everything that she can, and I feel for her in the sense that she's also getting thrown around a lot because obviously defenses are spending the most time defending her and being very physical with her, because I feel like literally I think it was the other day where I was like, the scout has to Marina has to be physically defend her, because it not
Right.
only rattles her physically but also, you know, then you also have the mental aspect, which is definitely part of a scout. Like you're I mean, it's not like we're the what was it, the whoever left their scout in the locker room last week for the W. It's not that situation, but you can kind of like think about what these teams are probably focusing on. And while Slim is out, it's stop Marina in any way, shape, or form possible, because she's gonna drive, she's gonna shoot, she's gonna, you know,
They're
you're trying
beating
to
her up out there just to stop her. Yeah.
exactly, and that's what you have to do because she's so shifty in the way that she's able to get around people. So that, I mean, I would hate if that was my scout. The scout has
Right.
beat you up. Like,
Yeah.
that sucks. And so she's feeling it physically, she's feeling it mentally. And sometimes that can motivate a person. Sometimes that makes you tired. Sometimes that, and so I think we're seeing a little bit of everything when it comes to Marina. But she's still obviously capable always of having a 30-point game, and she's doing what she can out there with what she's being handed and what the defense is allowing her on any given night. And so, I mean, what else can you ask? Honestly,
There's not much that you can ask, and I think that's why I think I want to shout it out, because at least for the last two games, you have started to see the Marina Mabrey that became a WNBA All-Star for the first time in the season in her career. Sorry, and yeah, the team has done well to get her into some open spots. We asked that question with Zulfi last week, how to make it happen, and almost like right after, there she was,
yeah,
getting to hit. And then you just see like the effect of it. Like the second that Marina is not just getting the attention, but is starting to hit, it just opens
yeah,
up so much. You know,
much.
that play that we mentioned with Kia Nurse, as Marina is coming up on the turnover I was watching, I was like, oh, this could be a pull-up for Marina. This could be a drive to the bucket for hopefully an N1 finish. But then that opens it wide open for that cross-court pass to Kia for like
Yeah.
a really huge three.
And
But
if Kia's like hot that night, yeah, you want that because Kia's
shooting
another
50% from
shooter.
three, yeah.
Yeah, Kia's another player who, once you start seeing it go in, that's when she, is able to hit those shots.
It
And
was really
so,
nice to see it. I think
yeah,
like it has been, Kia's played like pretty limited minutes throughout, or at least we can say inconsistent minutes throughout
yeah,
this
it's up and
season.
down.
And I think she might have even mentioned it when we talked earlier in the season. But finding that rhythm
It's
is
hard.
difficult. But funny enough, I think maybe we just need Kia Nurse to play against the Wings, because she had two of her best outings against them
True.
this
Yeah.
season. Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of like where the team is at. It's so weird to say, because I think like, yeah, we both cover or have covered, and we'll probably continue to cover the Raptors. But if the Raptors were on a 10-game losing skid, we just I don't know that we'd be so jovial about it here. But again, context is everything.
We also weren't
And
around in 1997. Who knows how they were reacting? Doug, we
I
need to ask
was
Doug how they
around,
were
but I
reacting.
barely remember what it was
Yeah,
like.
but you weren't like in our position where you were like,
Yeah, I was angrily at recess saying like, what kind of moves are we gonna make to really like support Damon Stoudemire?
No,
No,
I was watching Barney, so
there you go. Yeah, yeah.
different
But
dinosaur.
moving forward, we're going to take a quick break to say welcome to the Nation Network's first limited edition collection, A New Era of Nation Gear, where we partnered with Levelwear to elevate the apparel you know and love, bringing you premium quality pieces, new styles, and versatile collections designed for life beyond game day. Introducing the Off-Season Social Club, a collection built for the sports between sports. From polos and premium tees to hoodies and hats, elevated everyday essentials, every piece is designed with quality, comfort, and performance to take you from the golf course to the patio, weekend trips, and everywhere in between, maybe to the cottage. Because being a sports fan isn't just a season, it's a lifestyle. Visit nationgear.ca, follow Nation Gear on social, and subscribe to our newsletter to be the first to shop new collections, exclusive drops, and everything still to come. Yeah, I mean, for fans who have mentioned, I think at this point, the Hello and Welcome merch store is like the site is down or it's closed right now, and that is because of this transition into working with Levelwear and kind of putting together new gear. But we joked about it last week. We're gonna have to probably fit some tempo time in there. We're
You
gonna see what it is.
gotta. I want to
Yeah.
see people rocking tempo time in the off season.
There you go. But yeah, so we talk about it, and we always have to continue talking about it until we finally have a clean sheet. Let's go into an injury report. So
Yeah.
let's talk about the most recent ones, and you let me know where how we're looking at it.
Yeah.
Coming out of the Wings game, we had two injuries. One to Kiki Rice, who I think just like awkwardly stepped down on a drive into the lane and then
Yeah,
like walked
slipped.
off. Yeah, slipped. It was a left foot injury. It didn't look like it was an ankle situation. As Coach Prondello said post game, she was trying to get back in the game. Even if you watch the game, you saw that she was actually at the scorer's table at one point.
Yeah.
And I think it was right before Kia hits the 3. And then next thing you know, it cuts to her sitting on the bench, maybe a little annoyed that she's not playing. But it seemed like Kiki really wanted to get back in, and Coach Brundello was very grateful for the offer, but girl, please rest.
Yeah.
So we have Kiki there, and then at some point in the third quarter, or like within the game,
Second or third.
Second or third, Niara Sabali leaves the game and doesn't return with a left calf injury. So what can you say on that front? What can you update us with?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, Kiki is okay. Everyone
That's
take
great.
a breath.
Great news.
We
yes.
gooch. She wanted to go back in. Brundello was like, nah, that's silly. No, there's like a minute left in the game. You have 5 fouls. Kia's shooting well. You know,
Yeah.
why risk it if not for the biscuit? You know. And so, yeah, Kiki's good, I'm sure. I mean, now with 5 days off, I doubt she'll be even a part of the injury report going forward.
Yeah, barring nothing happens, like, along the practices, like, should expect to see her at Scotiabank Arena on the 18th.
Yeah, exactly. With Niara, I mean, less clear about what that was and what the issue is. I mean, it sucks because Niara's playing so well when she's healthy, and that is the issue, is just her health.
We talked about it last week, but she really is this glue piece that like keeps things together. Like you know, for how close the Tempo got into getting back into the game last night against the Wings. I mean, huge shout out to Aneesah, huge shout out to Izzy for their efforts, but to have Niara out there in a crunch time moment would have been incredible for putting things together. Yeah.
So I mean, we'll see. We're practicing tomorrow, so we'll see if Niara's practicing or not. I feel like that is something that, you know, tomorrow will be a good indication of if she's practicing or not. And then with Conde and Alamon, it's things that they suffered in the Atlanta game, you know, just a little bit probably of wear and tear. And then now we're in the range of trying to make sure that these things don't get worse for the World Cup. You probably have some opinions coming in from their federations on how that should be addressed. And so, yeah,
and for some context, like international play is like a huge deal.
Huge deal to the Europeans.
To Europeans. Huge. If you saw an influx of French players, including ones that you know, like a Marine Johannes, like this season, a lot of it is due to the fact that the French national team insisted that they skip the WNBA season during the Olympics. So this is the kind of thing that is actually pretty normal practice, but something that, especially for a team that has drafted or signed a lot of European players, like you might have to get used to it.
Yeah, and like those federations, if I'm not mistaken, pay as well. So it's like it's you're a freelance basketball player dealing with a lot of different people who want you to play. And Julie is a very big part of the Belgian team. Conde has been part of the Spanish team for a long time. You know, then you have, you know, so you have these federations who
up until the season, the WNBA was kind of a side hustle for a lot of these players.
Yeah, and like you said, like in Olympic years, there are federations who will say, no, you can't play in the WNBA. Maybe less so now that the money is a little bit different and et cetera, et cetera.
Yes.
I think there's a bit more, they can speak up a bit more now.
There's more incentive,
There is more incentive, but there is a world where these federations have a lot more control over who plays in the W and who doesn't. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about in that case. And yeah, I mean, with the World Cup, for a lot of these, like you're fighting for an Olympic spot, you're fighting for better seating in these Olympic qualifying tournaments. Like it's a big deal to the international stage. And for a lot of these players, the international game is a bigger priority to them than playing in the
U.S. gap
WNBA.
in the women's side is not as big as you would think.
Exactly. It's closing smaller every day. And I'm so, like, I will be tapped into the World Cup because, that's going to be interesting.
France was one play away. Like, not
one toe
away, you know?
Yeah.
And
with us not having skin in the game, with Canada not in there,
Right.
Like, go France. But yeah, it's
like
just
we
like,
have a comment here, like Golden State Valkyries are reducing Gabby's minutes
yeah,
to prep for the World
and
Cup.
that is 100% coming from the French national team of being like, okay, like,
Sure.
time to be doing stuff, because yeah, they have a lot of say in what happens. So, and it's funny because on the men's side it's the complete opposite. It's the NBA teams who are controlling what,
Yeah.
how these players are moving. But
It is really like a 180 of it. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So anyways, for people who are like, oh, why is all this happening in the next few weeks? World Cup is coming up. That is going to change things. Brondello did say last night before the game that she doesn't think that Condé or Alamond are serious. And I read that as, okay, World Cup is coming. Let's try and make sure this is not turning into anything. And that's the thing for Niara as well. She's going to go play for Germany, right? We have a lot of players in Toronto who are going to go play for their national teams. And
we don't have news on Niara, and it's a little loaded because we know of Niara's injury history, so you never know how serious it can be. But given the context presently, like, it could just be a precautionary thing of like, tweak something, don't want to make it worse, has World Cup to worry about.
And Olaf is there, like, her coach is there, being like, so that probably adds a little bit too.
Sure.
And so, yeah, you're definitely going to see and that's the good thing about, we're saying we want to see more Kiki. Yeah, with Alamon going to the World Cup, with Condé, with, I don't know if I don't think Lithuania's in it. I'm not sure. But anyways.
It's hard to say. Yeah.
Niara, like,
Lara would be in the mix. For
exactly.
Sure.
So it's like, you have all of these players who are about to leave, so that you're definitely going to see more Kia Nurse minutes. You're going to see more Kiki minutes. You're going to see, all of these things when Slim comes
Marina
back.
will just be there still, like, the whole time.
Yeah, which is shocking. Like, Team USA is that good that Marina is not in the mix for that.
Yeah, like, you can say it's a snub, but there are, like, so many snubs for the U.S. team.
Yeah,
honestly, at this point, if any tempo player wants to naturalize as a Canadian,
that's what I'm saying.
Come on over,
So anyway, that's kind of the update injury-wise. I don't think there's anyone else.
The last one to mention is we got a little bit of a teaser of some photos of Slim in practice.
She's the one updating us at this point.
But she's the one updating us at this point. But could you add some context as to what those photos were and what exactly is going on with Slim's practice and workout with the team?
Yeah, so she's ramping up, which is a great sign. Brondello told me she was doing threes the other day, which is she's just doing like 3-on-3, half court 3-on-3. Like, it'll get to the point where, and that's why it's so important for them to be back home and us to go to practice. It's so hard to be doing my job when they're not here. That, maybe travel a bit more next year. But anyways, the point is that if we go to practice, Sunday is different because it's open practice, so they're not really, it's not, I feel like it's funny because people are like, oh, I'm so excited to see what a practice is like. You're not going to see what a practice is actually like. You're going to see
you'll get like,
a dramatized version.
Sure. Which is like, that's to be expected. Like, the great news is, like, I mean, I know I'm going to be there.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I got myself some tickets. You'll be there too. So
I won't be there with tickets. I'll be there.
But you'll be there as media,
yeah.
But yeah, definitely say hi if you see us there. But also, what you're getting is, like, you're gonna get to see the players, which is really great. You're gonna get to see a little bit of what's being done, and it looks like they actually added some elements. Like, there's gonna be a talk with, like, Coach Sandy Brondello there.
So it'll be. I'm not saying it's not gonna be cool. I'm just saying that
it's gonna be super cool. But also
not,
you're getting
like,
no insight into the actual nitty gritty
of a
like
practice.
The media only part, like, certain members of the media will get that level of, like, I've never been like that deep into a practice myself too.
Yeah, and that they let certain, like, it's like we get let in at a certain time, and
that's right.
And it's all to protect what they're doing, obviously.
No, absolutely.
The point of that is, like, when I go to practice tomorrow, and Monday will be a big indication as well, Monday practice, because
follow at Chelsea Leite for all the live updates,
because the intensity in which Slim is participating in practice is a huge indication of whether or not she will be available, and obviously I've started to see the patterns of, like, okay, a player's doing non-contact participation in drills, and then the next practice they're doing full contact, and that means that a return is coming. For someone who just mascot Tuesday, Indiana game, but so if I see her tomorrow at practice and she's participating but non-contact, or even with contact would be ideal, but not even non-contact, I'm like, okay, potentially Tuesday. If we show up on Sunday, I mean, Sunday's, again, not really an indication.
Yeah.
She might, I would, I don't know if she would I don't know. That doesn't count.
Friday will be able to give us some insight as to whether we see Slim back on
Tuesday.
I would say
Monday,
based on what we have so far, I wouldn't count on it.
I wouldn't. For me right now,
there
it's
would have to be
50-50.
developments between those photos that we saw and the update that we got to like what could be happening on the Friday.
Exactly. So honestly, I think Friday's the most important. If I see her somewhat participating in the scrimmages at the end of practice, then I'm like, okay, Tuesday is a possibility. If I don't, because Sandy's not one.
I think what we could say is like Tuesday limited minutes.
Yeah. Like a return Tuesday limited minutes. If I don't see her, because Sandy's not one to throw someone back into a game with only one practice under their belt. So it's kind of like, okay, like the possibility goes down a little bit more. And then Monday's a big indication. If she's not practicing at all Monday, absolutely not. She's not.
That's a wrap. Yeah.
That's a wrap. She's not playing Tuesday. If she's practicing Monday with no contact, I would say it's maybe like a 15% chance.
Sure.
If she is practicing Monday on with contact, I would say there's a good probable chance she is in for limited minutes on Tuesday. And then they're in Washington, and then they're in Vancouver. Then we head to
another
Vancouver.
Washington game.
Another Washington game. And then we head to Vancouver. So like my guess, I mean, ideally it would be Tuesday because you want her to come back at home, because then they're not back at home for another month. Like,
sure.
So ideally, in the fun part of my mind.
Do you want to see Slim play against the Fever at Scotiabank Arena, or do you want to see Slim play against the Fever?
It was the Fever where she got injured the last time. She got injured in Indiana. So it's like, So anyways, but regardless to say, tomorrow we'll have more updates. Monday we'll have more updates, and we'll see what happens. But she's close. It's close.
Yeah.
It's close.
Adding to it, because of, personnel missing due to injury or anything otherwise, we have the Tempo signed Zay Green to a developmental contract.
Slay.
So tell us more about Zay Green.
Yeah, I mean, she's someone who she played, she went around the college circuit a little bit, ended at Alabama. She actually played with Sarah Ashley Barker, who, big Portland name before she tore ACL. Right. Shout out to her. Speedy recovery. But is someone who, she got drafted in the 3rd round to Washington, but of course, because of the way the WNBA works, like 3rd round picks are not often on teams when all is said and done. So last year kind of fell into that cycle, ended up playing in Europe, going through, a ton of different teams in Europe, just getting as much experience as she possibly could. And is probably someone that the Tempo have been keeping tabs on, throughout the season. And then, it was from Texas, and so they were there. And, I think, again, just someone that they'll probably have in the mix, like, you have to think all these people that they're signing now, and I'm pretty sure this is the same with the development players. You have the rights to sign them to a training camp contract, so it's like, okay, let's get a little bit of a look at her now, maybe bring her back for training camp next year. And with all of these players potentially leaving for World Cup, like Brondello kind of mentioned this, with players potentially missing time on the front and back end of that FIBA World Cup.
It's kind of a tryout almost.
Yeah, it's like a try, and getting a second development player just gives you more options. Now the Tempo they activated Ornella last night, so they have 11 games left that they can activate these players. And now we're at the point where
lengthy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just watching
lengthy.
her on the floor, like with the defense and everything, I was just like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to get more looks at those players because of the fact that, one, now we're at the point where we have, I think, 13, 12 somewhat games. So most of these games now, they can activate one of them. Mm-hmm. And so, it's like a tryout. It's good. And I mean, good for her for, breaking back into this league that is famously hard to break into, gives her a look going into next season. We'll see what happens. But that's kind of the vibe, some depth, some international experience, some European experience. She'll probably go overseas again, in the off season and get more experience. And, we've seen that. We've seen players go get that international Europe experience and then come in and make a mark in the WNBA. So hopefully the beginning of, a WNBA career for her.
Either way, we're going to get a new look at a new player, and we're looking forward to it. And speaking of new players, Tempo had the third best odds for Juju Watkins. You know,
What's your
I think we have.
favorite? What's your favorite tanking phrase for Juju so far?
Ooh, I think doo doo for
Yeah,
Juju
that was the one I was gonna say. Juju
is
for Juju.
it's look. I don't want to be very clear. I do not want the Toronto Tempo to be doo doo, but
Yes.
it is an incredibly rhyming hashtag.
Also, yeah,
And
Delulu for Juju is a good one
Delulu
too.
for Juju is
Because
great
I have
too.
been Delulu for Juju for years.
Look,
Years. And
I bought this, I think before, or maybe when, before the Tempo had a name. I think I
yeah.
already bought
No,
the
no, no.
shirt.
That was
Yeah,
Juju freshman season.
right. And so,
That's when I said Juju Watkins is a Toronto TTC is never something, something, something.
sure.
We can pull out the receipts.
But no. Okay, Chelsea, break down the draft situation right now. You wrote about it on. I mean, follow Chelsea's work on TSN. She does all the recaps post game. But actually, I believe here I do have it open in front of me, so I do want to read the title if I can find it. Yes, the title was "Tempo Inch Closer to Top Draft Odds with 10th Consecutive Loss." So we could tell like the where things are trending right now. Like, I think mathematically, of course, the Tempo are not out of the playoff race, but the way things are trending, the way we're looking ahead to the rest of the season, it is going to be very difficult and I would say unlikely. And so consideration toward the draft has to be made, like that conversation starts. So where are the Tempo right now?
Yeah, so the Tempo have a very unique situation this year, which I think works out better for them. So the WNBA is unlike the NBA, and I mean the NBA is changing now, so I have no idea how the NBA works now. But the WNBA uses 2-year weighted odds to determine who has the best odds in the draft lottery. And so for every other team except Portland and Toronto this year, they have to take their 2-year record into account when thinking
Right.
about draft odds. For Toronto, they don't have a 2-year record, so they just have to worry about this season. And so
And we're not even quite sure how exactly that gets weighted because we would have been able to find out with the Valkyries, but they made the playoffs.
Exactly. So again, this is, and I do want to say with a little bit of a disclaimer that this is my understanding of how everything will work. And
Yeah.
again, they could just make up whatever they want because it's the
Right.
WNBA. But as I understand things now, the Tempo are currently have the third best odds in the draft lottery if the season ended right now. Ahead of them are Chicago, who don't own their pick because it goes to Washington, who are going to make the playoffs, and
Which
Connecticut.
means they don't have any real incentive to tank
tank.
for that. Yeah.
Yeah. And Connecticut, who is moving to Houston. And
Right.
so again,
The
different
Connecticut
situation.
to Houston one is like, you know, if we're putting on conspiracy hat, probably where we're like, it seems like the league might be incentivized to kick off this returning franchise, not an expansion franchise in this case, with the number one pick. But
Yeah.
we're hoping that that's
But
not
we're
the case.
we're staying pure of heart and saying that
Pure
this
of
is
heart.
this is a non-colluded process.
As a
let's
Toronto
say.
basketball team like what Toronto basketball team can you name that is rife with controversy around it in
Yeah.
terms of, you know, circumvention or certain thing? Like I can't think of
I
one
can,
person.
100%.
Yeah.
So anyways, but the thing with the interesting part of where we're at now with Toronto being in the situation that they are, is that every loss means so much more than every loss and win for Connecticut and Chicago because
Right.
it's weighted almost double. So like even last night before the Tempo lost, their 2-year percentage was like 3.2 something. As soon as they lost, it went down to 303. And
Right.
when you're trying to where you're trying to catch up with Chicago, who is at 282, and Connecticut, who's at 253, every one of those losses matters. And so it's like, in the sense, it's like, of course, again, I'm not going to sit here and be like, I want like, you know, like, but at the same
No.
time, there is like this is the year almost to do it. And so to flip to make that
I'll also
conversation
say, like, even if we don't want to frame it that way, it's just there, like, you either somehow have like a really huge bounce back to the playoffs and that is a feel good moment, or you don't, and it is, yes, like, I think the thing that's like toughest for us as media members, as fans, is this is a very likable team and players that play their asses off to stay in these games, to stay competitive as much as they can with depleted rosters, all that. The thing that I think all of us, and I was, you know that meme where like the person like leans in, like, in like, I was that in the fourth quarter with the Wings, because I'm just like, man, the Tempo really are gritting this out and they deserve this win. But if they don't get it, there is this thing of, yeah, who knows? Also, I think I just lost your audio for a second, Chels. So if you want to check on that. But we'll continue talking in through here as maybe just unplug and plug back in, and then then you'll have to, do the whole settings thing to come back. But yeah, it's gonna be.
Can you hear me now?
We're back. You're
yes.
back.
Okay. So
right.
the thing. Okay,
Yes.
and then if we want to move forward and talk about Juju in particular and why
I'd like you to go on with Juju, but I think it might be in reference to also like this question that we have here from our good friend Ingrid.
This is what I was going to talk about.
So we're going to read this out right now from Rigid Mink. I saw a theory online that if USC doesn't win the championship, she might do another year. What's the likelihood of this from the inside, Chels?
Yeah. So, first of all, I just want to say that if you don't know who Juju Watkins is and you're like, why would they want the Tempo to lose just for a pick that they might not get? I need you to go to youtube.com and watch some Juju Watkins highlights, because there's not much I wouldn't do to have Juju Watkins on my basketball team. Generational player. And I say this every time we talk about Juju. Generational franchise, like, absolutely changes the trajectory of all of our lives.
Not the same player, but like the way that we were all like surprised to a degree about how much Olivia Miles is hooping this season. That's like what Juju's kind of coming in with, like that level of talent and ability that we expected almost. Yeah.
She was doing that in her freshman season at USC. So that is what the level of player. So yes, the theory, if they don't win a championship, here's my thing, and someone else kind of beat me to it in the comments, but it's like, first of all, Juju has been ready for the WNBA since her freshman season. If the WNBA had the same rules as the NBA, where she could have declared there would have been a great argument for her to declare after her freshman season at USC. Sure. Because she's so good. Then, so there's that. She's ready regardless. There's no, should she stay another year to develop? No, she's ready. There's like maybe, and this is like really hard for any of us to say, basically until the moment that like I guess she finishes next season, a sentimental like feeling of her wanting to stay, but none of us can speak to that. Exactly. So I don't know what she's thinking in terms of, I want to win a championship. There was the whole Paige Beckers thing of she definitely could have come out a year before she did. But do you compete for the number one spot with Caitlin Clark, or do you stay and potentially win a championship? It worked out for Paige. She stayed. She won a championship. She was number one. I feel like it's a different culture when you're thinking of UConn as a team. Exactly. For Juju, I think that is less maybe of a concern. Because at the end of the day, Juju is a fantastic player that makes USC a contender. But at the same time, it's a little bit more of a long shot than UConn. Right. Also, thanks, my nails. And so for me, I don't think that's as much of a thing in her mind. If she doesn't feel ready physically, that might be an issue, because she's coming off of an injury. This will be her, she hasn't played in a year. She has that redshirt year to go back to. Sure. Do I think she takes it I would say I'm like 90% no. Because again, someone said in the comments, you're competing the next year with Sarah Strong, potentially Michaela Blakes, this huge draft where, I mean, I would assume in that case, maybe, I mean, I would think Juju still goes first, but at the same time, you're competing with someone like Sarah Strong, who has just as much of an argument to go first overall as Juju does.
It may destroy tempo time if we have to pick between the two.
It would really be a fracture of our family.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think 2027 is a more open draft. Juju is undisputed the first option in that draft. Do I think it's disastrous if the tempo gets second or third? No, because they're still great. Like, I think Madison Booker is a great prospect. I would love if the tempo drafted her. I would be happy if that too. Juju is just such a life-changing player for all of us. I've been manifesting this since like 2022. Let's be so for real.
Yes.
And so the fact that the tempo now have a real shot at this, it was one thing when we were just like, ha ha ha. Now they have a shot. Like, they actually have a shot.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about how quickly, and like, I guess that is what happens when you go on an extended losing streak, but how quickly this was like just suddenly became in play.
Yeah, like I feel like 1 second we were like, maybe playoffs, that would be fun. And then the next second, not the Etsy witch. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to that. Then the next second, we're truly in this race for the top pick. And like with a 7-team lottery, like things change a little bit. With Chicago, we're so like Toronto's close. Like, I go, like, I'm not gonna lie.
To quote like Matt Devlin, but like switch it up. The tempo are right there.
They're right there, and right there. You know, I have Tankathon bookmarked on my thing. Maybe I go in once a day.
What we could do is, so like for people who are familiar with Hello and Welcome, and how we have operated prior to actually making the playoffs and being in it. We would, at a certain point in the season, just run Tankathon and see what we get. Now, in those seasons, the Raptors were never like heavily in play for like the first pick. So we really just relied on the luck of it. So I wanted to switch it up a little bit. Just because we're in play, it's not only seeing what we're going to get if we go through it right now, but the game is how many times do we have to simulate until the tempo get the first pick? Yeah. So we're going to go with our first sim lottery right now. Seattle. Whoa.
Oh,
boo. Boo. Tomato. All right. So that's one so far.
That's one. We're at one.
Okay. Up to two. Not bad.
Okay. Not bad.
Second try. Okay, sitting at third again. I'm just going to keep on going. So 3.
Yeah, keep going.
4.
Okay, last time it took me 1. Yeah!
In the 5th try, Toronto finishes with the first.
Okay, but last night for me it was 1.
This is the thing. I
also always go to the mock draft one, and I do the mock because I like seeing the names.
Like, I remember seeing friends, like, again, going back to MNBA and the Raptors, like, There are certain things that like you'll see Twitter do as like a game progresses, and one thing that happens like with the tempo is as it seems like the game is out of reach or the loss is like loss happens itself. Suddenly, like all the hashtags for Juju come out, all the screenshots for Tankathon come out, and it sounds like most people pull the Toronto tempo like in their first or second try. They just go in, run it up, and then there they are. And like, you know what? In 5 tries, I'm not mad at that either. So look, we're obviously going to be tracking this along. We're going to run Tankathon throughout unless somehow, you know, how many games left do the tempo have? They just like they just win out and somehow get into play that way. But no, we're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep checking in on that.
It took me 1.
You just did 1 right now, and it took you 1, you know?
Chelsea, I need to run the lottery.
I was going to say, we need, you know how they always have like a representative? We might have to just send you there.
Imagine the reporter. Hey, guys.
Yeah.
I'm tweeting on the side.
Yeah.
It took me 1. It's Juju. And I always do it on the player one because I feel like it gives me better
right.
vibes.
No, that's okay. Okay, maybe we
Right
have to do
now,
that version.
her name is right next to a Toronto Tempo logo, which, ooh, I love to see it.
That is so cool. I mean, like, if you see me walking around outside during the day today, I will be wearing Juju Watkins sleeveless tee that
When
cuts
I
the sleeves off myself and my Tempo shorts. Yeah.
The Toronto Tempo Juju Watkins jersey would go like quadruple platinum.
Oh my god! I mean, like,
there'd be mans out in the streets.
There are too many at this point jerseys that I would like. That's always the tough part. I don't know how it goes for you, but when I think about when someone's like, "Oh, what jersey would get? What jersey would you get?"
Juju.
Having, historically, I used to work for the Raptors and MLSC teams, and then I would be covering them and be close enough around it. It always felt weird to wear a specific player's name because it almost like seemed like I was showing a sense of favoritism.
Yeah.
And so I'd always end up getting like some blank,
Yeah.
But that said, yeah, no. I
The
feel
way
like
that the men of Toronto would be walking around in Juju Watkins Tempo shirt.
yeah, it's what's how many months until it starts feeling like a red flag? Like, I don't know.
Oh my god, which is so. But yeah, that jersey would go quadruple 100 platinum. And
also, like, what will be like the top bun situation in the country?
Yes.
At that
Oh my
point,
goodness. Top buns all over.
Yeah.
Nike would just be absolutely getting their Canadian coin.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because she has a signature shoe coming at some point.
I know.
I think it's already in her deal. Like, like
I mean, like, I'm getting so excited about this stuff that like I'm almost just like, oh, they'll never let us have her.
No, I know, right? Which is hilarious. Like, it's either like, the conspiracy, but like maybe they're like, oh, the international, because they really want to globalize the WNBA. What better way to do that to have your biggest star play for the only international team?
Thank you, Zolfi. Number 12 is currently taking on the Tempo either.
We're holding strong.
Yeah. We're just
Juju.
gonna retire the jersey ahead of time.
Retire before she even comes. Yeah,
exactly.
Coca-Cola, the one Tempo jersey in Coca-Cola Coliseum.
Yeah. Okay. To close out,
we're
not only welcoming Zay Green, we're not only looking to welcome Juju Watkins, but come the Scotiabank Arena game on August 18th,
I was like, where are we
against the Indiana Fever, the Tempo mascot apparently is going to be introduced finally. And I don't even know what to do. Like,
I don't know what to do.
No, because it was this thing that I guess much like a WNBA team, I didn't know it was going to really happen. The
Atlanta Dream don't have a mascot.
Sure. And I think one of the things, we have a bunch of friends who work with the franchise, so we've always been fortunate to get to talk to them about it. And outside, actually, funny enough, I think we would rarely talk about like players and personnel and, who they're adding, but I mean, the way I have talked to some of my friends on that team about the mascot, not even like suggesting who the mascot should be. Like, I don't, even if someone has like inside information to provide for me, I want to be introduced the same way everyone else is, like on the day. I want to be, surprised with it. But yeah, I love a mascot. I love Ellie the elephant. I love the absurdity of like just, faceless or like emotionless like avatars standing around in like large costumes. I'm just so excited to find out. And I feel the excitement is shared because as you texted me pre-show, apparently you've been dreaming about this.
So here's the thing about me, friends, that you're gonna learn right now. My brain loves to give me a work dream. I have a work dream all the time, and maybe that is a bad sign of the fact that I need to think about work less. But anyways, work dream. So I have this dream last night that we are at the reveal of the mascot.
Sure.
It gets revealed, and what is it but not a red goose?
A giant red goose. And I don't even know, like, functionally how that works. Like, I'm gonna try to look up red goose.
But it, like, to me, it didn't look, like, in my dream, like, I was like, oh, that's a goose?
Right.
At first, I was like, "Is that a bear?" But it had a different thing. Yeah, but it was a red goose. It had a name that had nothing to do with anything, and I can't remember for the life of me what the name is. But they revealed, and it's funny because red isn't even it was bright like Raptors red goose.
Okay.
And I remember just everybody online being like, "What the actual F is this? Why did it take you 2 years?" Because again, we talk like I know this mascot has been being developed for a very long time, and again, I don't know what it is at all. This is why I'm dreaming that it's a moose.
Sure,
or not a moose, a goose, a goose,
Yeah.
a goose. It would be funny if it was a moose. And I agree, it cannot be a beaver. Cannot be a
Although
beaver.
if it is, I do want to name it Justin Bieber. But yeah, no, of course, keep going.
But yeah,
It
so
can't be a
anyway,
beaver.
I have this dream that it is a red goose. It has a name that means nothing. It's just like a stupid name, and everybody online goes up in flames about it. And we're at Scotia, like in my dream, we're at Scotiabank Arena, and they reveal it, and it's just this fucking goose, and it's like. And then I woke up and I was like, first of all, why do I keep dreaming about work? Like, why can't I not dream about normal people stuff? And also a goose? So then I texted Jerome. I was like, we need to talk about my dream.
Right.
Oh,
And so,
man.
yeah, I mean, polar bear sounds cool.
You also have to think about the fact that in the WNBA, and a lot of these mascots were made a long time ago, but a lot of the
Sure.
mascots have absolutely nothing. They're like amorphous creatures that have absolutely nothing to do with anything. So there's
Yes.
an avenue where the tempo goes super Canadian with it. There's also an avenue where they go the most random that has ever happened in life.
Right.
Because yeah,
I
like
should check in on the Tempo account right now to see if they dropped any more clues. Because like
Any more
right
clues,
now,
yeah.
for people who are listening, what I have right now is the post announcing that a mascot is coming, and they are doing a mascot tracker. So I don't know if anything on this is already an indication of what we could be looking at, because there are a couple of icons there. But the idea is they're going to be dropping hints over the course of the next few days leading up to next Tuesday.
no new hints.
On their story, I
No.
believe this must be a bit of a hint, but enjoying a beautiful night under the
Oh.
Northern Lights, which came up, and this is from
Oh.
Yellowknife, Northwest Territories.
Sure.
So, this might indicate something in the Arctic range, maybe a polar bear.
oh, that would be sick. That would be cute.
Again,
but
that'd be really cute.
yeah,
There's
but I
also
mean,
Carlton the bear, like
Yeah.
for the Toronto Maple Leafs. So I don't
maybe
know
there's-
how
maybe it's like, but and there's no MLSE connection, so it's not like they would be related.
exactly.
In any
Yeah,
way.
yeah, yeah.
Or
We
maybe
have
they
an
go
idea of, like
dinosaur.
Carlton, but like girl version Coco. Yeah, dinosaur.
Polar bear, moose.
Are dragons a thing? I still just like
Yeah,
I don't know. But the other
could
thing too, like
be-
when I think about all these, and like you even mentioned it with a goose, is like just functionally how do they work?
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
I want them to be mobile in
Yeah,
some way.
no,
you know,
you got to have a raptor situation where they're flipping and do it and being
again,
active.
the greatest mascot in the WNBA and arguably in sports is Ellie the elephant.
Yeah,
And girl has mobility.
mobile. I'm still holding strong on my theory that Ellie the elephant is a drag queen.
Yeah, I can definitely see where that.
So,
falls.
but yeah, I mean, this hint leads me to believe that polar bear is an option. Femme polar bear, love that.
Yeah.
I would say like also like somewhat mask polar bear would be fun.
Someone that's actually
Mask polar bear.
You know what? Fluid polar bear. You know?
Fluid
Just
yeah, no,
fluid
there's
polar-
someone
that's-
there is
yeah.
someone on WNBA Twitter / internet who tracks the pronouns of each WNBA mascot.
Right. Yes. I remember,
And so
yeah.
I need the tempo to make sure they let us know the mascot's
I
pronouns.
believe like Sid and TP on Unsupervised also like broke down. I think a little
Yeah.
more of the drama of it, because like
Yeah.
at All Star there was like a photo of all of them together. And
Yeah,
they were
yeah.
alleging, some relationship.
they were alleging, and
you
Ellie
know.
says no. I mean, Ellie to me might be aromantic. She kind of sometimes gives me that vibe.
Very much like the R&B superstar Maya. I believe Ellie can only marry Ellie.
Yeah, Sue
Yeah.
Sylvester herself, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I need the
Oh,
pronoun. Yeah,
Ever with
would-
the research, Zulfi provides. Google tells me wood bisons are big in Yellowknife. I'm all in. A bison? What do you
Yeah,
mad at
sure.
Yeah.
Maybe, and I mean, you never know. Maybe they could be a pair of something. Maybe
Okay.
it's two.
There are teams that do have more than one mascot. Unfortunately, one tends to like outshine the other usually.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And also, I don't know if we're big time enough yet to have two mascots, you know?
sure. And
but
they
yeah.
were roommates.
And two, one's femme, one's mask.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, so to me, yeah, I need the pronouns. I mean, nobody has to disclose their, sexuality, so I don't need
Of course,
that from the
of course,
mascot.
of course.
Pronouns though would be appreciated so that we know how to properly. Oh my god, names rhythm and blues. They should.
That's good. I like that.
Tap
I like
into
that.
They should have tapped into this when they were thinking about it.
Yeah.
But no, I do think based on everything they might go super Canadian. Which I mean, Northern Lights,
That
polar
feels like
bear,
yeah,
moose,
for sure.
maybe. I feel like polar bear is a good option that's not too Canadian, but is still Canadian enough, if that
Sure,
makes sense.
sure. I
So
hear you.
that might be my pick, but like we learned with the name things, Chelsea doesn't get what she asked.
Right,
for.
right. Yeah, I forgot you had like a long campaign.
Oh,
Yeah.
we went through phases of that. We like we put things on the cutting room floor. There was a lot going on.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I am very excited to learn our mascot and figure out who they are and
Yes.
become their best friend.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
me
wanna
and the
be best friend.
Raptor are tight. So
The Raptor and I, we are cool. It is really funny. I don't know if this is really too much to hear them sometimes pull up and just like talk to me.
Yeah.
while in costume.
no, we do
But-
know the
But
Raptor.
yeah. I'm really excited. I'm really huge on mascots. I may or may not have. I definitely have asked members of the Tempo if not even to take photos, not
What
even
if it's a
to like
loon?
pose in- Okay.
Heated
okay.
rivalry.
Okay.
Anyway, continue. Sorry, I just
But
really
no,
had
no,
to
no,
get that
no, no.
intrusive
You're all,
thought
you're
out.
all, you're all good. I may have asked that whenever it gets revealed if I could just like put on the costume for one day and just wander around.
What if
I don't-
Jerome is the mascot?
I'm not the mascot.
Whoa, but you
I'm
wouldn't
actually
tell
not
us
the
if you
mascot.
were. You wouldn't tell us
Yeah,
if you
how,
were.
how insane would it be that actually like my hair is like a clue into it? Like we didn't know. It's not.
No,
I just want to be clear it's not.
Your hair
Yeah.
is a clue that you're joining the stud buds. That's what
That's
it is.
exactly what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Just start. You know what? I think actually now
The cutoff T is really not helping your case here. You are
That's what it
currently
is.
a stud bud.
Yeah, the mascot is just a stud. Is what it is. Yeah.
Incredible. Anyways,
But yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's coming. Also, what's coming is an open practice, which I saw some people mention, asking if they would see us at it. Hopefully, we see more Tempo fans. I think.
yeah. I might be.
Again,
I think they're putting the media up in the mez, so
Okay,
I might be
okay,
separated from
okay.
the Gen Pop.
I
but-
will see you regardless.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is really cool to even like have this happening. I think no matter what, just the fan base is always like incredible.
Yeah.
So I'm just really excited for it. But that kind of concludes everything there. We really aim for like 60, but like, we got under the 90s. We're okay.
We got
there.
under. I gotta go run to an event.
Yeah, what you're going to an event right now. That's right.
Yeah, not to
Can
give
you
too
say
much
anything about it?
away.
Okay,
I mean,
fair
I think so. It's. I
Okay.
mean, Marina's doing an event somewhere.
Very cool. Have fun
Yeah.
out there. I'm sure we'll
Thank
see
you.
updates from it online.
Yeah.
And how can people find updates from you, Chels?
Yeah, follow me on my biggest socials these days for reporting are Twitter and Threads. I tried Blue Sky. Did not
Yo,
work for me.
Threads are like the WNBA hub. Like I feel
Yeah.
like players are on there way more than they are
Exactly.
on
So
Twitter. Yeah.
I felt like I needed to start putting a lot of stuff on there. So yeah, reporting on
Yeah.
X and Threads. Instagram is where you get the little more personality bits from me.
Absolutely.
And also I also still update reporting on there as well. But and then yeah, tsn.ca, WNBA tab. We are so back next week with actual broadcasts. I got a facial.
That's right. You'll be back on
I
TV. You'll be
will
heading
back-
out to Vancouver at some point.
Yeah,
the
next
weekend
Thursday.
after, right? We'll
yeah,
have
literally
an
a week
episode before then.
Yeah, we'll have an episode, but a week from today we head up to BC, baby. So
man.
excited for that. Another TSN broadcast road trip. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, anyways, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Yeah, and you can find us here on Tempo Time each week. So thank you once again for tuning in, and we will see you next time.